I woke up before dawn, staring at the ceiling, unable to believe the day had finally come. My little boy, Mason, 5 years old, with his messy brown curls and that tiny gap in his teeth, was starting school today. He had been talking about this day for months, counting down sleeps, asking me what kids wear, what they say, whether he should raise his hand before speaking, whether anyone would want to sit next to him. I told him yes every time, even though deep inside a familiar fear sat heavy. What if my parents poisoned this too? They always did. I walked into his room quietly. He was already sitting up with his backpack on, the straps hanging off his little shoulders, his feet swinging. "Mama," he whispered, trying to hold his excitement but shaking with it. "I'm ready. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video." "You look perfect," I said, kneeling in front of him. His eyes sparkled. "You really think so?" I nodded, and he smiled so big it almost broke me. We walked outside, hand in hand, and I let him press the button on the crosswalk like he'd been begging to for weeks. The morning breeze was warm. It felt peaceful, dangerously peaceful, the kind that always comes right before my family decides to ruin everything. When we reached the school courtyard, parents were taking pictures of their kids with chalkboard signs and big smiles. I had saved all month to buy Mason a little laminated sign that read, "First day of kindergarten, Mason, age 5. He held it proudly, beaming up at me. "Mom, can you take a picture of me jumping?" he asked. That was his big plan. He had been practicing jumps in the living room so his first day picture would look super cool. I took a deep breath, lifted my phone, and he leapt into the air as high as his tiny legs allowed. That's when I heard the sound. A car door slamming, loud, familiar, followed by laughter, the sharp, mocking kind that has lived in my bones since childhood. I turned. My parents were walking toward the school, my mom wearing her floral dress, my dad holding a giant bouquet of balloons in bright colors, bouncing wildly in the air. They weren't looking at me. They weren't looking at Mason. They were looking at my sister, walking right beside them, holding her daughter, Lily, who was barely 3, not even old enough to attend school. "Are you serious?" I whispered to myself. Mason looked up at me, confused. "Mama, they came?" He thought they came for him. My heart cracked. My mom rushed past us like we were ghosts. "Lily, our princess, our star," she squealed, lifting Lily into her arms. "First day, of course we had to come. Look at you." "But she's not starting school," I said quietly. My mom didn't even look at me. My dad shoved the giant bouquet of balloons toward Lily. "Anything for our real girl," he said. Then he finally glanced at Mason, like someone glances at a stain on the carpet. "Oh, you brought him." Mason's smile dropped a little. He held his little sign closer to his chest. My sister rolled her eyes at me. "Don't act jealous. Kids like mine need memories. It's not like your situation matters as much." Mason looked at me again. "Mama, what does she mean?" Before I could answer, my mom turned toward him sharply, her voice dipped in sugar but lined with knives. "Sweetie, you don't need all this special treatment. You won't accomplish much anyway. Better to save the balloons and excitement for someone who'll make us proud." I felt Mason's hand slip from mine like his heart slipped from his body. He didn't cry. That made it worse. He just looked down at his shoes like he was checking whether they were even allowed to touch the ground. "Mom," I said, my voice shaking with a rage that tasted metallic. "Stop talking to him like that." My mom finally looked at me. "Oh, don't start your dramatics. You made your choices. You had him, not us. We don't have to pretend he's some big deal." "He is a big deal," I snapped. My dad smirked. "To you, not to anyone else." That sentence didn't just hit Mason. It hit me, the child version of me, the little girl they used to say the same things to. My sister clapped her hands loudly. "Take pictures of Lily. Come on, don't waste time on that." She flicked her chin toward Mason. My parents immediately lifted their phones, yelling about angles and lighting as if they were photographing royalty. Parents nearby watched, Some tilted their heads in pity, others looked away, uncomfortable, but no one said a word. Mason whispered, "Mama, did I do something wrong?" "No," I said instantly, kneeling and pulling his face toward mine. "No, baby, you did everything right." "But Grandma said—" "Grandma's wrong," I said through clenched teeth. "And cruel. And she doesn't get to decide who you are." He nodded a little, but his shoulders still drooped. My dad's voice boomed across the courtyard. "Hey, don't get him too excited, okay? He's not built for big things. Keep his hopes low." I stood up slowly, my vision tunneling, my pulse pounding. This wasn't a moment I could forget. This wasn't the kind of disrespect you just walk away from. Something inside me cracked, the same way it did the day they told me I wasn't worth sending to college while they paid for my sister's private art school. History was repeating, but this time my son was in the crosshairs, and that changed everything. My parents kept laughing, posing, making Lily throw confetti like it was a party for her. Mason watched them silently, holding his little first day sign so tightly the edges curled. I leaned down and whispered in his ear, "Do you trust me?" He nodded fast. "Good," I said, "because after today, nothing will be the same." I straightened up and stared. At my parents across the courtyard, my mother's smug smirk, my father's dismissive eyes, my sister's jealous little triumph. They thought they won. They thought they humiliated us. They thought this was just another day of treating us like trash. They had no idea what was coming. And I walked Mason into the school with a calm so sharp it could cut through bone. The moment Mason disappeared through the classroom door, clutching his little backpack straps like they were lifelines, something in me shifted. I stood there for a long second, staring at the door he'd gone through, forcing myself to breathe through the shaking in my hands. He deserved a first day free of humiliation. He deserved joy. He deserved a family who lit up when they saw him, not one that smothered all his light. My parents were still outside, loudly singing "Happy First Day" to Lily, who wasn't even old enough for school yet. My sister had pulled out a portable speaker. She was actually filming a TikTok about it. Typical. She caught sight of me walking toward them and rolled her eyes dramatically, tossing her blonde hair like a teenager. "Oh God, here she comes. What now? You really want to ruin this for Lily too?" I didn't respond. I didn't stop. I walked right up to my mom. "You humiliated my son," I said quietly, but the edge in my voice sliced through all the noise. My mom blinked. "Don't make a scene. You're always making scenes." "I didn't make a scene," I corrected. "You did. You always do." My dad scoffed. "Overreacting again. That kid is too sensitive. Toughen him up." "Toughen him up?" My voice cracked into a bitter laugh. "By telling him he won't accomplish anything on his first day of school? Are you insane?" My mom crossed her arms. "We tell the truth. Better he learns now than gets disappointed later." "The only disappointment," I said, "is the people standing in front of me." My sister let out a dramatic gasp. "You're jealous. Admit it. You're always jealous that Mom and Dad love me and Lily more." I stared at her cold. "They don't love you. They use you. They control you. And you're too obsessed with being the good daughter to notice." She stepped forward, her voice cutting. "At least I'm not a single mother who ruined her own life." My jaw clenched. "My life isn't ruined, and neither is my son's." My mom laughed, a short, sharp sound. "Please, he'll end up like you, struggling, begging, barely scraping by. We're just being realistic." "Realistic?" I repeated. "Or cruel? Because there's a difference." My dad sighed impatiently. "Whatever. We've got better things to do. Lily has a whole photo session planned. You don't need us. You never did." "Don't worry," I said. "I won't need you, ever again." My mom waved a hand dismissively. "You say that every time you get emotional. You'll be back. You always come running. When you need something." That was the moment a strange calm settled in my chest. Not rage, not despair, just clarity. "I'm not coming back," I said. "Not after today." They didn't take me seriously. They never did. They smirked and strutted back toward the parking lot, arguing about where to get lunch. But I watched them walk away, knowing something they didn't. They had crossed a line they couldn't uncross. When I picked Mason up after school, I found him sitting on the edge of the playground sandbox, drawing shapes in the dirt with a stick. He looked smaller than he had that morning. "Did you have a good day, baby?" I asked gently. He nodded, but slowly. "I liked my teacher. She's really nice. But some kids asked me where my balloons were. I said I didn't get any." My heart twisted. He continued. "One girl said, 'Didn't your family come?' I said yes, but then she said she didn't see anybody with you." He swallowed hard, staring at the sand. "So, I told her my family left already because they had something important to do." He looked up at me, eyes shimmering. "Mama, was I not important?" I sat down beside him in the dirt, not caring about my jeans, and pulled him into a hug so fierce he melted into me. "You are the most important person in my world," I whispered. "You are the brightest thing in my life, and you don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise." He nodded into my shoulder. The teacher approached us, smiling warmly. "Mason did wonderfully today. A little shy, but very kind." He helped another boy who dropped his crayons. Pride filled me. "That's my boy." But as she walked away, I saw my parents' words still haunting him. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't bouncing. He wasn't the little boy who woke up excited to jump for his first picture. They stole that from him, and I decided to take something back. That night, after he fell asleep clutching his stuffed dinosaur, I opened my laptop. I didn't cry. I didn't hesitate. I started making calls, sending emails, filling out forms, applying for things, registering for things, changing things. Not for myself, for him. By midnight, I had a plan. A real one, a big one, a painful one, but necessary, because my parents thought hurting a child was just another Tuesday, and they were about to learn that I wasn't the quiet daughter they could push around anymore. They had no clue that the next time they needed me, the world would look very different, and I wasn't going to answer. The chance to cut them off didn't come gradually. It hit all at once. 3 weeks after Mason's first day of school, I got a call from my sister at 6 a.m. I let it ring. Then it rang again, and again. Finally, my phone buzzed with a text from her. "Call Mom, it's an emergency." I didn't. I was pouring cereal for Mason when my dad's name lit up my phone. I declined it. He called again. Declined. Then, again, declined. Mason looked up from his bowl. "Mama?" "Eat, sweetheart," I said softly. "We're okay." A minute later, my voicemail beeped. My mom's shaky voice. "Your father collapsed at the store. They won't treat him until we provide insurance information. You have it on your policy, remember. You added us last year. Just call us back." I froze. Yes. I had added them to my employee insurance back when I was still trying to make them love me. Back before the endless insults. Back before they told my son he didn't matter. But 3 weeks ago, on that quiet midnight, I had submitted the removal forms, effective immediately. No more access, no more benefits, no more entitlement. My mom kept calling until voicemail cut her off again. "Please, they're asking for your authorization. Just answer. Stop being dramatic. We need you." The hypocrisy almost made me laugh. Need. Me. Now. I put my phone face down and finished helping Mason tie his shoes. We took our time leaving the house. I packed his snack. He drew a picture for his teacher. We walked hand in hand to the car. My phone kept vibrating in my pocket. My mom, my dad, my sister, all taking turns. But I didn't answer. Not once. By noon, my sister texted again. "They said you removed them from the policy. Why would you do that?" I replied with a single line. "Because you told my son he wasn't worth anything." Silence. Then my mother called again, voice raw and panicked. "We didn't mean it. We were just upset. Please, just answer. Please help us." I didn't even hesitate. I turned the phone off. That afternoon, while my parents were stuck in financial chaos at the hospital trying to pay upfront costs, I sat on a tiny plastic chair in Mason's classroom watching him proudly show me his drawing of us holding hands. He smiled, really smiled, for the first time since that awful morning. "Do you like it, Mama?" he asked. "I love it," I told him. "And I love you." I pulled him into my arms, breathing in the warmth of his little shoulders, feeling something I hadn't felt in years: peace, not vindictive, not cruel, not dramatic, just free. And while my parents spent the rest of the week scrambling, calling, begging, leaving voicemails full of suddenly sweet words, I never went back. They taught my son he didn't need memories, so now we were making our own. Without them. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.